My name is Rafael, you're watching Rock and Roll Garage, and today I'm going to show you the 21 singers that Iggy Pop said are the best of all time. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, back in 2008, Rolling Stone magazine asked for the help of journalists, critics, and famous musicians to come up with the list of the 100 best singers of all time. And one of the famous musicians that helped the magazine was Mr. Iggy Pop, the godfather of punk, who reinvented himself over these past decades, one of the most influential musicians of all time. And later on, Rolling Stone revealed who these people voted for, and they also revealed revealed Iggy's list. And this is what I'm going to show you today. So let's start. Number 21, he picked Kurt Cobain, the late legendary Nirvana co-founder, guitarist, vocalist, and main lyricist. Certainly one of the most important musicians from the past decades. The revolution that happened in the early 90s wouldn't have been the same without him, for sure. The number 20 is it's David Bowie, the chameleon of rock, one of the most versatile musicians of all time, and one of Iggy Pop's dearest friends. They were friends for decades. They recorded together. Bowie helped Iggy a lot on his solo career as well, and they were really big friends. So let's move on. Number 19, Mr. Neil Diamond, and I truly believe, man, Neil Diamond is one of my favorite singers of all time, for sure. And I think really that he is really underrated. He should be more recognized because he's amazing. Let's move on. Number 18, Mr. Jim Morrison, the late legendary The Doors vocalist and main lyricist as well. Another one from the infamous 27 Club, right? Kurt Cobain passed away tragically at the age of 27, and Jim Morrison also tragically passed away at the age of 27. One of the most important lyricists and singers of all time, for sure. Number 17, Toots Hibbert. Toots, it's a Jamaican musician. He was a singer and a songwriter, and he led the band, the reggae and ska band called Toots and the Maytals, which was really important for that music genre. He's considered a reggae pioneer. He performed 6 decades and helped establish the fundamentals of reggae music. Number 16, he picked Marvin Gaye, one of the most beautiful voices of all time, for sure. Incredible singer. He helped to shape the Motown sound in the 60s. And he also he started as an in-house session player and later became a solo artist with a lot of successful albums he released. And 2 of his nicknames were Prince of Motown and Prince of Soul. What an incredible singer. Number 15, the also late legendary singer and guitarist, one of the most famous bluesmen of all time, Mr. Muddy Waters, who sadly left us really too soon in the 80s. He was about 70 something. He was born in 1913, if I'm not mistaken. So he wasn't that old at the time. And imagine, he at least 2-3 more albums he could have gave us, but his discography is just fantastic, and another musician that music wouldn't have been the same without him. Number 14, another one, Mr. Chuck Berry, one of the architects, one of the godfathers of rock and roll music. Rock wouldn't have been the same without him, and he's not only Johnny B. Good, so many other incredible songs he composed, and the Attitude, the Duck Walk, the way he played the guitar, the way he sang, it's just a fundamental part of rock and roll music. Number 13, Iggy Pop chose Solomon Burke. Now, Solomon was an American singer, and he helped to shape the sound of rhythm and blues. And he's also considered one of the founding fathers of soul music in the 60s. And he also has been called a key transitional figure, bringing R&B and soul, and was known for his prodigious output. Another incredible artist. Number 12, now another rock and roll artist, Mr. Eric Burdon, who I think is certainly one of the most underrated singers of all time. He was the vocalist for The Animals, a band that in my opinion should be among the greatest ones from the 60s, from British bands, but they tend to get a little bit overshadowed. They're much more than House of the Rising Sun. So many incredible songs that band released. So he deserved much more the spotlight. I mean, and also what he did after the Animals. His works outside the Animals are also fantastic. Number 11, Mick Jagger. Certainly one of the most, if not the most famous frontman in the history of rock and roll. I think that's arguable, but I mean, he's been on the stage for more than 6 decades, and the whole world knows who he is. Certainly, not everybody, but most part of the world. So he might be the in my opinion, the most known, the most famous vocalist of all time for sure in rock and roll music. We reached the top 10. Another reggae legend, Mr. Bob Marley, probably the most important one. Another Jamaican incredible artist who I think he had the chance to really expand the boundaries of reggae music. I mean, he went much more beyond that. His lyrics were amazing, and people all around the world listen to him and they don't think maybe, oh, it's reggae music, just for the lyrics and the incredible songs he performed. Number 9, now this might be arguable for some people, he chose Bob Dylan on position number 9, and Bob, many people might think he doesn't have the greatest voice of all time, but I don't think that you don't have to have the American Idol voice to be a great singer. If you sing what you wrote and you sing from the heart, I think that's the most important thing. So as Iggy doesn't have the most beautiful voice of all time, but he sings with attitude. He sings he sings the way he should be sing, the way he should be done. Position number 8, he chose Johnny Cash, who is primarily a country artist, but probably the most rock and roll country artist of all time, who is another incredible singer too. Number 7, he chose another incredible blues man, this legendary singer and guitarist Johnny Lee Hooker, another incredible artist, one of the most important blues musicians of all time for sure. And it's quite interesting if we analyze the list, the variety. I mean, you got country, you got pop, you've got rock and roll, you got blues, you got reggae, a lot of different stuff. You got soul, R&B. In position number 6, Mr. Brian Wilson, the mastermind behind the Beach Boys, the mastermind behind Pet Sounds, their greatest album, one of the most important albums of all time. And he certainly is quite underrated in my opinion, because I don't think that he has the same spotlight that names like Paul McCartney and John Lennon and Mick Jagger, Keith Richards has. I think that Brian Wilson is up there with them as well. We reached the top 5, and the top 5 is a soul funk king, let's say, Mr. James Brown, the man who inspired Mick Jagger for sure, in terms of stage presence. I mean, what else can I say about James? Some of his nicknames were Mr. Dynamite. He was a dynamite on stage and singing. Godfather of Soul, King of Soul, and Soul Brother #1. I mean, he is one of the most important and influential artists of all time for sure. #4, he chose another architect, another godfather of rock and roll music, Mr. Little Richard, another late legendary musician who was extremely important for rock and roll music. #3, now we reach the top 3, and it's something you could expect. #3, Paul McCartney, the legendary Beatles co-founder, bassist, not only bassist, right? He knows how to play the drums, he knows how to play the piano, the keyboards, the drums, and guitar, you name it. You know, McCartney can play almost everything, a banjo, a mandolin, and he can also sing, and he also can compose. And the interesting thing, you know, we have Little Richard on the position #4 and Paul #3. If you analyze, and Paul already said this, some of Paul's high falsettos in some songs, it's exactly what Little Richard used to do. And he was really influenced by Little Richard. Position #2, another Beatle, the late legendary John Lennon, who alongside Paul McCartney was certainly one of the greatest songwriters of all time. They're probably the most successful songwriting partnership of all time. Another musician who had an incredible impact in music for sure. And position #1, the musician that in Iggy Pop's opinion is the greatest singer of all time, Elvis Presley. And I mean, you can argue about that and etc., but the impact that Elvis had is just something we can't really measure if you think about the singers who came, were only teenagers when Elvis was the main thing all over the world, so he had a huge impact to especially influence these artists who would then be famous in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and change the whole course of rock and roll music. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. These are the 21 singers that Iggy Pop thinks are the best of all time. This is what he told Rolling Stone magazine in 2008. If you want to read more, you can go to description, read the article about this, and let's talk about it. Please leave your comment. Tell me what you think. Okay? Don't forget to visit rockandrollgarage.com. Thank you for watching, and I see you later.